All right, we're going to open the meeting at 5:30, and we're going to jump right in because we have Mr. Fernandez on the phone. So that is fantastic. So, Mr. Fernandez, do you want to give us an update on how close you are to filing your remediation plan and notice of intent?
I talked to the surveyor today, and it's a little short in a design. I guess next week, Tuesday, they're gonna go there find all the rest of the elevations for the foundations and take all the shots they need.
Okay.
It says by the week the 24 we should have the plan. I'm sorry, I know it's a long time, but I guess Joe Levesque worked a foot, and I think if somebody work with him is quitting or whatever, just one man band. I guess they need help, but what he told me, he says by week the 24 we should have the plans.
This is the surveyor that told you that, or Azimuth?
The surveyor.
So that wouldn't be a plan.
The surveyor, they're going to design the plan, and Mr. James, they have another plan proposing, to work in the east side, upper side lots, to divert the water coming from outside. He is ready with his, but he waits for the elevations to put one plan over the other.
Gotcha. So the surveyor is needed. So he had started back in July, though, right?
I know, but I think they broke a foot, and he got short in the crew. I guess one of the guys, they quit.
Oh. Okay.
And just one then done. If I know the town know him, and somebody know from the town know him.
Yeah, Mike Julian said he knew your surveyor. Yeah.
Yeah, they can talk to him. He says they can talk to me. I apologize because they took a long time for me to come up with everything. But he promised me next Tuesday they're gonna go there finishing the showing the elevations, and by the week the 24 he says I should have the plan.
So it would be like an as-built plan, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, yeah, he's supposed to take elevations, all the structures in the room, the foundations, and the landscaping around the foundations. They're supposed to take everything.
Okay. But will the surveyor won't be doing the remediation plan. That has to be the engineer.
The plan, Mr. James, I guess he has already designed something, and they meet with the conservation with you people there before.
Well, he can't.
He says they have the plan, but they need the elevations from the Joe.
Right.
To put the plan together.
Right.
They already have them, but they need the elevations to tell everybody.
Right. To put
everything stands.
To put the ideas with the actual numbers of the elevations and everything
yes.
Together.
Yes.
Okay.
The most important thing is you're working to put right in the lots of, I think it's from 11 to 13, which is the east side, the upper, in a circle, the upper lots. Mm-hmm. You try to put asking if we have a permission to go through the woods and make like a little waterway in with fabric and stone, and divert the water coming from the outside field, divert water to the north side, to the brook.
No.
But to do that, he needs the information from the elevations, to tell everybody what they're going to look like.
Right. No, there's no permission to do any of that until we.
I know, but
yeah.
that's why Mr. James, the engineer.
Yes.
They're waiting for Joe to get
Okay.
all the elevations.
Okay.
But My question is, last Friday we talked to the EPA over the phone too, we have a meeting.
Thank you.
And we asked them if we can go in, finish, put more erosion control and this and that. And they said, you see no problem, but you guys have to talk to the town.
Right, so and correct me if I'm wrong, commissioners, because you're speaking with just the administrative assistant right here. I'm sort of leading the discussion, but, so stop me if I'm wrong. I don't think they're gonna say yes to anything unless we see a visual plan.
Right.
Yes, I understand, like I said, we're working that, and Joe is way behind because they promised this in July.
Right.
Right.
But then I guess they broke a foot.
Yeah.
He came with a short crew.
Yep. So,
If, like I said, I know the
Yeah.
town knows him, and because they do all the work for the town. He
Yep.
said that if somebody want to call him and talk to him, he can explain what's going on.
okay. Yeah, I think Mike Julian knows him.
Yeah, I think they talked to him before, and he apologized. He promised me they're gonna go there Tuesday, finish shooting the elevations, and by the week the 24th they have a plan.
Okay, well, that's good to hear. Commissioners, do you have any questions while we have Mr. Fernandez on the
Will the
phone?
plan be here on the 24th?
Your next meeting is on the 22nd.
Yeah.
It's the 24th.
Right. Is it the 24th? Okay. Oh, right, that's like
That's their drop dead.
the
Yeah,
busiest
that was
day.
the deadline.
So,
Ever.
Commissioner Colagnesi is asking if the plan will physically be here in our office by the 24th.
Well, he says next Tuesday they're gonna finish. They have to go there himself, finish, shooting the elevations. He said the week after we should have the plans. But like I said, they can be 1 or 2 days later, 1 or 2 days. I hope they can, because this is the secret. I told them it's because you're too late because of money or because you can do it. So no, I apologize because I broke my foot and I'm just one man band.
Yep, okay.
I'm behind everybody.
So that's all you can tell us is you expect it by then. Yeah,
That's right. I hope that we have them, like I said, next week finishing shooting the elevation, everything, and the week after have the plan.
What about the
Because
status
if
of
it's
the
up to
general
me,
build permit
I can
from
do it
EPA?
tomorrow. But the problem is, he promised us, I think July 11, they haven't, and we already have 2 rooms, we still have another plan.
right. So, Commissioner Nowick is just asking, how are you doing with the construction general permit for the EPA?
That, I told Trey, the building inspector, to talk to Mr. James to help us because, he is the professional engineer to help us to put the permit, but is the question I have to put to everybody. Should we apply for the permit before we have the plans, or we should wait for the plans and then ask for the permit?
So, well, that's with Damien. You have to, those are their procedures. We're not familiar with all of their procedures. That's, we're asking out of curiosity because it's a related issue. But,
Yes.
Ours is the notice of intent. We want to see a full notice of intent with a remediation plan, in addition.
Yeah, because I guess what's happening is we told the EPA, if we can apply, they said, no, you guys have to talk to the town. And this and that, yes, I understand everybody has to be the same, because the town, they can ask for something else. The EPA, they don't ask for or whatever.
I think we have,
Come up with something, everybody to be in the same shape, everybody to be in the.
Damien,
Damien's on,
Question is, though,
I think Damien is, Mr. Fernandez.
We try to apply for the plan but I want to make sure if we can apply for the plan before we have the plans, or
So-
if we wait for the plan, then ask for the permit after,
Okay, so we might be able to get you an answer here. We have Mr. Bednar's on Katie's computer. And so, Damien, can you hear Mr. Fernandez? We can't hear you though. Okay, so we need to hear Damien a little better, if we can. So, we're gonna try to hook you guys so you can speak. Give us a minute here. You're amazing. Damien, hold on one second. We still can't hear you.
Is there any way Mr. Fernandez to call him soon? Are we all in the same place?
Yeah.
That would be,
Is
that
there
would
a
take a lot
meeting?
of time to set up.
Oh, okay.
So,
Add the volumes.
Because is there a link?
You should have been here.
Huh?
I'm sure you think.
You should have been here. I can understand why this is not easy. He's in, what, DC or something, but I can understand why he's in.
just be patient with us, Mr. Fernandez and Mr. Bednar's.
That's okay, then, like I said, we can start apply for the permit during the week.
Do you guys have audio now?
Test.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Much
And
better.
now we can hear you. very
Okay.
well.
So, Mr. Bednar's, we have Mr. Fernandez on the phone, and we were just asking out of, he's saying that the surveyors had someone who broke a foot, they had someone who quit. So 3 months down the road from when he was promised, they are still just finishing the surveying on Tuesday. So they're hoping to have a plan to us by the 24th. He's expecting to have a plan for us by the 24th. He can't promise, but they're telling him. But so we asked out of curiosity, how is he doing with his work with you on the federal side? And he seemed to be saying that he didn't know whether he had to file with us or with you first, and I don't think it matters.
Yeah, there's no procedural order between the two, just NOIs need to be submitted on both fronts.
Did you hear that, Mr. Fernandez?
No, just very, very warm voice.
Okay. Mr. Bednarz, maybe one more time. You can shout, we won't mind.
Okay, so an NOI needs to be submitted for the Conservation Commission and their approval for construction work, as well as an NOI for our construction general permit, which would authorize stormwater discharges.
So it doesn't matter which one goes first, Mr. Fernandez, but they both need to be filed as soon as possible.
Yes, like I said, we can start to file the permit as,
Right, we understand. But yes, there's no worrying about the order.
Just came both done.
Okay, because like I said, I have no problem to do that. Like I said, the only thing that I don't know if they need the plans to ask for something, or if,
Right.
go ahead and ask for the permit, which should be no problem to start working tomorrow.
Okay. Mr. Bednarz, is there anything else you want to update the commission on or speak to Mr. Fernandez about?
I just wanted to ask about the extent of the plan that you guys are discussing that's due on the 24th, or that's expected by the 24th.
So
What is the plan?
we're asking for a remediation plan and also a full NOI.
Okay. Just, so this remediation plan, and NOI for the town, does not satisfy anything CGP related, just so Mr. Ramondia knows that.
So, Mr. Fernandez, what Mr. Bednarz is saying is, remember, these are two separate processes. So what our paperwork, the NOI for the state DEP, I'm sure they will be similar. I'm sure there will be elements that are similar, but it is a separate process that you're going through with Mr. Bednar's that may have different requirements. So, and your engineer, I am sure will know that. It's Azimuth Engineering. We know that you are working with a professional engineer, and I'm assuming he will understand that.
Yes, no problem, yeah. And like I said, if we run into a problem, we can always contact you, or,
Yep.
and if I can give need the direction to proceed.
So, Mr. Bednar's, where are you in the process? What have they submitted so far?
So last week on Friday, EPA's attorney and me met with the operators, and we just discussed with them the conditions that are in the construction general permit, and I sent them information on how to get started, which basically the most important aspects of those permit requirements are stormwater inspections, at least on a weekly frequency, and site stabilization within 14 calendar days of authorization under the permit.
Okay, and do you have a deadline for his submission to you?
So the deadline is as soon as possible, because as long as the site does not have construction general permit coverage, the stormwater discharges from the construction site are unauthorized federally.
And so fines could be charged.
Right.
But as long as they're working toward fixing, yes?
Yeah, so our main mission is compliance, or having them achieve compliance.
Okay. So we have some, Mr. Gamble is here, and is anyone else here for Pleasant Hills? And you are?
Gomez, Natividad.
Mr. Gomez. So we have Mr. Gomez and Mr. Gamble here, Mr. Fernandez, and I'm just going to offer them if they have anything that they would like to comment on. Since this is a rare opportunity that we have to speak with all parties, Mr. Bednar's, Mr. Fernandez. So we do have two homeowners here. Is there anything? How is the site faring right now? You know, we know
We haven't had any rain.
It's knock on
We
wood.
went a month without any rain at all.
Right.
So
So
that's a
things
good
have been at least not getting worse.
They're not getting worse. No.
Okay.
But
Have you seen
the-
any other?
The wetlands is totally filled in.
Of course, we're all well aware of that. How about, have you seen any violations as far as work being done that shouldn't be?
No.
Okay.
What was it, last
Last
meeting
time
we
you had
some-
seen-
Somebody had mentioned that they saw somebody going into the house and they called the police and it was taken care of.
Okay,
So nobody's been working
so
up there
that's
as far
supposed
as I
to,
know.
that's working as it should. It's unfortunate that we need to do that, right, to shut everything down, but until there is remediation, right? And please jump in, guys.
Well, you
What
had
else?
mentioned that a month without rain, that has given the sediment sitting on the side of that hill time to dry out. So if we do get a serious rain event, it only is going to mean that sediment is going to move quicker. As far as the October 24th was our deadline.
October 24th is the deadline. You know, certainly on that date, you'll have to decide whether fines will ensue starting on that date.
Well, I just want to make one statement because I am glad to see some forward progress going on here, but whether or not anybody has brought it up, November 15th, 2023 was the original deadline for a remediation plan and an update plan to have happened. As we're coming up to a year from that failed deadline, I want everybody to reflect on this, because if we were fining from that point, we'd be well over $3 million worth of fines.
Wow.
And at this point, I'm glad to see some progress forward, but I am very, very impatient that this has been an ensuing disaster for nearing 365 days.
With continued damage.
I've been fighting this for 2 years. Right? They have pushed the wetlands on towards the south side of that project. So it just made my area worse. We've had trees come down, pull the roots right out of the ground because they forced the water my way. And this has been going on for 2 years.
So to put it bluntly, I really want to see forward progress on this. I'm at the end of my patience here as well. So I don't need excuses. I mean, it's unfortunate that your surveyor broke his foot, but let's get this done. Let's get this underway. Let's get the paperwork filed and going.
It will take time. We have talked to you before about the commission will definitely, this is a complex remediation. The commission is in the process of getting quotes for peer review of whatever plan you do submit. So, you know, they're going to need their own engineer to look at this, so that's going to take some time as well. So, and winter is coming. I hate to quote famous shows or whatever, right? I didn't watch that, but winter is coming.
Can I, which plan is coming on Tuesday? He said that the surveyor,
Right.
So it's just the surveyor.
Well,
I thought he
that's-
said a plan.
That's just the surveyor taking elevations as they sit right now.
Okay.
So
So
that
it's
information
not-
can go to the engineer.
Goes to
Okay.
the engineer and
Okay.
then,
I got that, so he could combine it.
Yep.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Are you still there, Mr. Fernandez?
Yes,
Yeah, and you're hearing everything?
most of the time I can hear you really good, but everybody else is very, very little.
Gotta use your teacher voice. They're reiterating basically that we really need to see, you know, we're really hoping that we're gonna see that plan, or, you know, hear from the engineer directly how close they are by the 24th. And fines, what they're saying is fines may start on the 24th regardless.
can,
The only, I heard just a little bit, you know, very little. But they're talking about, I guess, a year.
Well, the original enforcement order had an original deadline of a date last November. So,
Yeah, but one thing everybody forget, you know, we started putting some erosion controls and stuff like that, because, you know, I told Trey, you ought to put some erosion control in the.
right, but
They stop us completely, you know, we have to.
because it was making it worse.
Yeah.
It was those what he was doing was making it worse.
it was not an engineered design.
He was doing what he thought would work, but it was actually exacerbating the problem. That's why this is unusual for us to stop erosion controls from being set. Ask Mr. Bednarz, he was not happy with us for doing that. But it is necessary because Mr. Atwater was not putting appropriate erosion controls in. And so because we could not get a hold of anybody for months, we had to stop all progress to get the attention, and thank goodness, Mr. Fernandez, that we got you on board, that we were finally able to reach you as part of this instead of Mr. Atwater.
And like I said, you know, I like to, you know, resolve the problems, but the footprint in the subdivision is not too big. The water they create there, they should percolate down to the ground, you know, a little, they should escape. The problem is the water comes from outside, and that I have no control of that. And nobody, if we don't do some work, divert water for somewhere, we bombard with water and they rain, the water comes from outside, we can control it.
Your engineer, the plan, the engineer will be able to give us evidence of that if it is true.
Yes, we have them, and I don't know names, but somebody went there in the day they ring a lot and they see the downfall from the embankment way up from the east side coming down. And like I said, one time they ring pretty good. I went there myself, you know. I see the neighbors inside the house, which is not my, you know, I don't peep in nobody's house, but I went there, stopped my truck, I walk, and believe me, from the airport side, the north side, there's a lot of water coming from there. And there's nobody talking about that, but I noticed because I'm working the field every day, since they clear cut the trees way up, we have a lot of water coming from there.
So like I said, on the plan that your engineer submits, if they have scientific evidence of that happening, they will be able to tell us if that is happening, and then our engineer will peer review that. So if that's a problem, believe us, we'll need to address that as well. So really, unless anybody else has anything, I think we need to wait for the engineers to present something. Mm-hmm. We're not gonna get anywhere going back and forth about what we know the problem is.
Yes.
Mr. Bednarz?
I saw the schematic, you know, the design, and they're gonna show you a little waterway for about 400 feet in the east side, close to the top in the retaining wall. They're gonna show, we're gonna propose a waterway with the fabric stored, divert the water to the north side to the brook. Other than that, it keeps coming to those houses no matter what. When they rain, they're gonna keep coming down.
All right, well, we'll have to see that on the plan. Mr. Bednarz, did you have anything else to say?
We just want to reinforce that we would like the operators to establish a SWIP, and in conversation, sorry, I should mention what a SWIP is, Stormwater Pollution Prevention Plan. So that's a requirement under the PAR permits to be able to have authorized stormwater discharges. It talks about all the stormwater control measures in conversations with engineers or the operators, whatever they determine, perimeter control measures and stormwater management features on the site to be, for those to be installed in concurrence at the same time as this remediation effort that's going on. So that way these problems are not worsening as you have described in the past. So that erosion doesn't continue.
All right, so do we have any other comments or questions for either Mr. Bednarz or Mr. Fernandez?
The only comment I got is they're talking about the water coming off the east side, right? They're the ones that cut the banking out. They cut the trees down, they cut the banking out.
So when we see that plan,
And they made, the water was coming to the south side, which is my side. They diverted the water to the north side, which made the Clean Water Act on that river
Right.
So,
yep, there are, you know, that's why these commissioners will not be solely alone determining whether the remediation plan is sufficient. They're going to be hiring an engineer of their own to be making sure that that whatever plan is presented by Azimuth, who is he's an appropriate engineer. We're happy to see that you've hired him, but the commissioners know that this is beyond the scope of their ability to make a final determination. So between your engineer and our peer review, we will get this plan to a point where it will be an appropriately, to the best of anyone's ability, a plan that should, to the best of anyone's ability, solve the problem for the future. So we thank you both very much for calling in.
One last comment from Commissioner. By the 24th, please, we can't let this go on much any longer. Not only do we need to see a remediation plan from your engineer, we also need to see the ONI go in for the EPA construction. And that's, at this point here, it's hard to say that there's any reason to delay the finding of this any longer than the 24th. So please do your best to get everything in line and to us by the 24th. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you again, both of you, for calling in. We really appreciate. We're very pleased to see progress, and we look forward to really digging into this in earnest in the next at the next meeting.
Like I said, thank you to everybody that came to the meeting. And one thing I ask everybody. Don't think I don't want to spend $1 to take care of this problem. If it's because of money, I wanted the problem resolved tomorrow. The problem is, if not me who designed the plans,
right. We know. Yeah, you're not an engineer. We know. You have to wait for the.
But if it's because of money, I can take care of the problem tomorrow. The problem is, I ask for things to be done. And I don't want to blame anybody, but it is whatever it is. They keep saying today, tomorrow. If I find somebody, or if the town knows somebody, they can do that tomorrow. Give it to me.
Right.
I say whatever it is, we do them, and it's the end of it.
Gotcha. We understand. Thank you so much, Mr. Fernandez.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you soon.
Like I said, I keep asking for forgiveness, everybody, because I understand if I live there, I want the problem resolved too, but it is what it is. I can do nothing.
Does the commission need anything from EPA at this time?
Are you all good with EPA?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bednars.
Thank you for joining.
You too.
You too. Bye. And thank you guys.
Goodbye, Mr. Fernandez.
Okay, thank you, and good night for everybody.
Thank you. Good night.
Okay, bye-bye.
Karen, I don't want to make work that you otherwise don't need to do. How difficult would it be to outline for the 24th meeting a sketch of the timeline on how each of these events came down from potentially Mr. Gamble's original request for our site visit, which, if I recall, was mid-October, maybe October.
Mid-October with you, but it was before that with Mike Julian and the other conservation guy at the time.
I have
It's
the
been
bulk of
over
that.
2 years.
I have the bulk of that already done. I sent it to Terry when she came on. I made that for Mr. Bednars. It would just need to be updated with the last, several months. So I will update that. I'll update the timeline.
Is critical is, where, Fernandez is claiming, oh, he's not aware of anything in November and all that, and we've been sending mail, enforcement orders and all that it should be spelled out, and then him claiming that we're not giving forbearance for acceptable delays. We didn't do the full lockdown, if I recall correctly, until April or May before we were calling the police.
Right.
So I just want to make sure that if nothing happens on the 24th, there's no screaming bloody murder, that this is out of nowhere and we're being unreasonable by starting fines.
Right.
I think you made it clear that the 24th is the drop dead date, and that fines will be inevitable after that.
I mean, Yeah, take whatever time you need, but
You know,
please
it's
expect
fine
it to
that
cost
things
you.
happened with the surveyor. I don't remember him proactively telling us
No.
that anything was happening with the surveyor.
No, I think,
That would have been, you know,
Surveyor comments since July.
right.
now, that's the same surveyor that came here with that initial,
That azimuth?
No, that wasn't a surveyor.
So the surveyor and the engineer
Oh,
are
that's
two
right,
different
that's right.
companies.
But who was azimuth? That's a surveyor, correct?
No,
that's
that's
the
the engineer.
Oh, okay. They
they're,
were?
they're still addressing, like Bob had said, they're still addressing this going up Pleasant Hills Drive or the left-hand side, trying to get this water off the side hill to the brook,
Right.
which they're
is-
still not addressing the right-hand side, which is created 11,000 square feet of,
So when he, you know, when he presents a plan and if it
Yeah.
shows that they're gonna divert the water and make it worse and, you know, again, you'll have your engineer
right.
to take a look
Yeah.
at that and say whether they are right or wrong.
Well, I was just looking at that too. October 24th, if we get some remediation plan from them, then we have a peer review of it, and then the remediation project starts, maybe next spring.
Not until he files with EPA.
Well,
We're
exactly.
in lockdown
So-
until that's filed.
So even on the best case scenario, the process is going to take, even if they meet that October 24th deadline, the process is still going to
Oh,
take.
yes, we're not done, we're not anywhere near done.
No.
And
And
what
I think
Mr.
the
Bednar's
fines-
seems to have been saying is that he wants their permit and their plan and this plan to dovetail. I mean,
Right,
this is gonna have to be the same engineer doing this, so that what they do to fix what we want isn't, not that we would allow that anyway, I don't see how that
It
would
shouldn't
ever
be-
cross,
right.
but,
It wouldn't be contradictory.
you know.
No, absolutely
And
not.
if I recall correctly, EPA mentioned that their NOI process and procedure for their enforces and our ability to correct the problems as well.
They're two separate tracks,
Right,
but they both have the same goal.
right.
So in other words, for the EPA to be satisfied, no additional damage can be happening and remediation plans will be in place.
Mm.
For us to lift our no work order, they need to have that filed.
Right.
Having that filed means they're doing no more damage, and then we have our filing, which will include fixing
The cleanup.
the
Right.
massive mess on the other side.
I hate to backtrack too far, but the original NOI that was filed and then expired, there was some conditions and criteria on that were never followed, I believe.
Something about the 25 feet
25 foot.
Sure.
from the
So,
wall.
you know, we actually could roll this back to the original NOI that they failed to follow, because I understand the process of sometimes plans get submitted for a subdivision or whatnot, and in the process of building or construction, things change, so then you end up with an as-built. So in other words, you may have the original plans which were approved, and then changes may have been made in the process to end up as a as-built.
It's supposed to
sorry
be
to
filing.
interrupt,
Oh.
but can we table and have a
No.
public hearing?
Fair
Oh, the
enough.
public hearing.
Yes, yes.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay. All right, so we have 545, notice of intent for Ecotech for Patrick McManus, proposed single-family home on Vinton Street.
Where should I stand? Can we go here?
Anywhere you like.
Want me to hold that?
Yeah, if you don't mind. Thanks. So I'm Kate O'Donnell. I'm from Ecotech. I'm a wetland scientist. I'm here with Patrick and Patricia McManus. They're the property owners and applicants. So the property is an existing, it's about an acre in size. It's undeveloped right now. There is Katy Brook on the western side of the property. and that's delineated with the pink line shown on there. There's also a intermittent stream along the northern property boundary, and that's shown in green right there. And then this is the 100-foot buffer zone and to the intermittent stream, and this is the 100-foot buffer zone and inner riparian zone to Katy Brook. So the entire property is within the 200-foot riverfront area to Katy Brook. The applicant is proposing a single-family house on the property. And the property is also entirely within the resource area bordering land subject to flooding because of the 100-year floodplain of Katy Brook. So this house is proposed on stilts or piers to be above the floodplain. So if it floods, it'll flood underneath the house, and the house wouldn't be damaged. And the house is also proposed in riverfront area. So the property was created, or the lot was created prior to the Rivers Act in 1996. So the performance standards for lots created prior to 96 are a little bit different from standard undeveloped riverfront area lots. So the requirement is that you meet you meet the performance standards to the maximum extent feasible. So we are meeting most of the performance standards, but we are slightly, and by slightly I mean about 10 feet into the inner riparian zone. So the house is proposed about 90 feet away from the Katy Brook. And it's also about 7,800 square feet of proposed development. But most of that is outside the 100-foot inner riparian zone. And, as some of you saw at the site walk earlier today, there is a large amount of property that will remain undeveloped riverfront area as a result of the project. All of this 100-foot buffer zone to the stream, that's all going to remain wooded, undeveloped area. And you still have that 90 feet of the inner riparian zone.
And I also offer, if I may, there's also like a bank where Katy Brook is versus where the land that we would develop. And there's going to be like a 12-foot bank, if you will. So even if the water level were to rise, it's still a very protected, controlled environment.
Right. So the house is situated as far from the brook as feasible on this lot, while still conforming to the zoning setbacks. Yeah, I mean,
if I can pause
yes,
for 1
go ahead.
second. I wasn't on the site walk today, my apologies. Is this above or below the current obstruction of Katy Brook causing it to jump its banks?
This is below.
Okay. Well, good to know.
that is good to know.
So as much as, I appreciate as much setback as has been presented, but Katy Brook has been
flood-prone area.
quite active over the last bunch of years on jumping its bank and moving on its own, so it's good to hear that you're on stilts.
Yes.
I hate to say it might be required, but I'm glad that you're at least working that into the initial plan. Okay, continue. Yeah.
I have two questions. One is to you, Natasha.
Yeah.
Are there any endangered?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Katy Brook has wood turtles living in it, so that's certainly,
Okay.
but they are staying away from it. If they're not developing or knocking down trees adjacent to the brook, they're not increasing water temperature. So as long as we're not having any kind of erosion washing into Katy Brook, it should have no effect on the species that is there.
And my second question is, I wonder if we can put that in the order of conditions that the buffer zones stay vegetated as it is.
We can.
Or the buffer with the
Yeah, as long
brook.
as that's not interfering with the proposed plans.
Well,
Yeah,
since the house
the
is over
development
there.
is limited to the area inside so this is a silt fence, erosion control barrier, so preventing siltation into Katy Brook, as you mentioned, and then all the development, so it'll be lawn in that entire blue area, but there's no other, lawn or clearing proposed at this time.
And I will offer that I am trying to make my lawn as small as possible.
Nice, nice.
Well, and one thing about the lawn, I thought of this after the site walk, is there should be no pesticides. I know there's not a whole lot of elevation into Katy Brook, but pesticides and fertilizer would just adversely affect Katy Brook.
Correct,
So-
I agree with that, and I am very motivated to have a very small lawn.
Nice.
You can't eat it, so why fertilize it?
That's right.
You just don't wanna mow it.
That is
Right.
it. That
Nothing wrong with that
is
either.
it. That is
Right.
100% it.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that, after we put through plans and moving to the future, that it's not a sudden decision that I want riverfront property with a beach and mowing down all the trees up to that point.
Because we have seen that.
Further upstream, there are some older properties that had, before the rules and regulations set in, there's one particular backyard that comes right up to the edge of the brook. But that was probably put in well before the regulations or the Conservation Commission was even established.
Maureen, are you asking for a prohibition on cutting
No.
any trees, or what
No,
are
I
you
said-
asking for?
I said for one thing is to have the vegetation that's already existing by the brook. There's some trees and some
So you're talking about
brambles
that eastern
The-
side, or are you talking about the northern side?
by Katy Brook.
Okay,
See that pink
25
line?
Yeah, 25 foot.
The
buffer
pink
zone.
line.
okay.
Yeah, just to protect Katy Brook.
Uh,
And I was also asking about the lawn pesticides and fertilizer use because it
This-
could
This
damage.
is maybe a good opportunity for a property owner to understand, like we had further upstream.
Yeah.
If a tree should happen to die and fall into the brook, your property actually goes to the middle of the brook. So technically, that tree is your responsibility to remove from the brook. That's
Fine.
when we talk about Katy Brook leaving its course. It was due not by anybody's effort to dam up the brook, but a couple of trees happened to fall into the brook because of the eroding bank in some cases. And when that happened, it caused a blockage, the water level came up, and Katy Brook actually found an easier route that went across a couple of properties and back into the river. That was the situation that
Just to let you know.
we were concerned with here. You have the bridge abutment, which the clearance on the bridge is quite clear. Whatever flood level they're going by for 100 years, I'm sure Katy Brook very rarely leaves its footprint. But on those occasions, I think it's within. But like I said, the 25 foot, the area closest to the 25 feet of the brook is the critical. If you want to go in there, drag out some dead wood. If you want to take out invasive species that are not, that can possibly kill the trees, that's all good preventative, stewardship
That's
of the land, right? But as far as any, geez, it'd be nice if the sun came in the living room window a little bit more, and we're gonna cut some trees over on that end closest to the bridge. That's and after the site visit today, you understand the importance of keeping that buffer zone between the.
Totally get it.
Yeah.
Totally get it. The property itself, once you're in there, is actually beautifully treed. So we're not gonna have a problem with that, and just to eliminate some of the diseased or the dead stuff, it's gonna clean everything up, it's gonna be beautiful. We're pretty excited if we have the opportunity.
Yeah, just
Instead of having a
remember that
big,
little woodpecker. Love that snag, so.
That's right.
instead of having a big, wide open backyard, having a nice walking trail through your wooded backwoods is just as
It
enjoyable.
will be beautiful.
That's
Keep it-
exactly.
Did we get a
Keep
DEP
everything
number?
fresh.
Not yet.
Yeah.
No DEP
We
number
have
yet?
a huge lawn now. We're done with it. Good, we're all set.
Yeah.
And did we need NHESP?
No,
No. Okay.
it's not.
So, So this would be the time to ask all of our questions, but we're not gonna be able to issue tonight because we don't have a DEP number. So
Oh,
DEP
okay.
has to, you know, go through and give us comments, and they haven't done that yet, so.
I was just gonna get you a little brochure
Oh, yeah.
that we have, but it's over here, I didn't get it, about the Wetland Act. So if you have any questions.
So while Maureen is gone, just a couple quick questions. Is this going to be on town municipal sewage and water?
Yes.
Okay.
There is a 6-inch water line that goes right through the center of Vinton Street that comes from 169.
Okay.
We will be tying into the sewer line that's on Charlton Street, and what we're planning on doing is to put an ejection pump system in it'll tie into like a 1.5-inch line that will go into the Charlton Street sewer line.
No, that's great. Anybody else have any questions?
Once they get the DEP number, do they have to come back or at that
They don't
point?
have to come back if you guys don't have any, well,
Well,
depending on the
conditions.
comments from DEP. Assuming that the comments from DEP are negligible or something that Katie can answer through, you know, giving us a communication that we can share with you, then no, they wouldn't need to come back and you would just vote at the next meeting.
Can we establish our conditions now?
It would be,
Prior to?
while it's fresh in your mind and you just went today, that would be, so getting everything ready would be perfect.
Okay.
So can you think of any conditions that you would want to place on this?
Yeah, I would say leave the natural vegetation, right by Katy Brook.
How many feet?
25 feet?
Yeah.
Is that typical?
Well, that's one of our setbacks that we established with bylaw.
Yeah. And no pesticides on the lawn. I would say no fertilizer too, because that would affect the brook.
Just to ask,
I don't
like,
think it'll get there.
I don't think we're gonna need fertilizer, because I think that land has so much natural compost over the years that it's gonna be beautiful, but like organic fertilizer.
Yeah, maybe I should say, no, manufactured.
How about non-organic?
Non-organic.
Yeah,
That's fine.
yeah, and I don't mean USDA organic, just like get some horse manure, cow manure, something like that.
There's some chickens right across the river.
Hey, there you go, works great, yeah.
Local source, local
I
source.
love that fertilizer. It has to be composted.
Just be careful
Just to
about,
let you know.
if it's too fresh, you have to give it time to age, otherwise it'll burn.
Right,
So-
right. It's true.
Any other
Um,
possible?
What is the proposed construction time should everything go as planned?
Good question.
I am kind of like, this is a big step right here, so I have a contractor that I work with. I have an architect that my wife and I are working with, but we're kind of waiting to see what happens here before we move forward. But if everything went well, I'm thinking 2025, maybe this time next year, we would be able to
Fair
move.
enough. No, I certainly appreciate a fall construction schedule, or at worst
spring.
late summer.
Probably
But I do want, because you do share property now with an endangered species, that should construction be underway in the month of June especially, to keep us informed of any nesting activity of turtles leaving the brook in your area, since we are dealing with a protected species. Otherwise, I don't see any complications in this.
Awesome, thank you all.
Should
Quick
we?
question, how would we be aware of turtle nesting activity?
Usually watching the turtles, because it usually takes 2 to 3 hours on top of your dirt mounds as things are being dug or there's ground
Oh,
disturbance.
okay.
It's gonna be a show, no doubt about it.
So if I would know it if I saw
That
it.
is a good question.
Yes.
Great,
You know, we say it all the time, so.
just,
So-
Some of the
glad you
comments
wanted
I
to
get
work
from
hard.
the general public is,
Right.
I see a turtle in my yard, it looks like it has its butt stuck in the ground and it can't get out. It's the laying process of them lifting themselves over and over, so it looks like they're actually struggling to get out of the hole, but they're not. So usually it is something where it's happening during the day. If you're, on site, you're seeing this happen. Just letting us know, it gives you options, so you don't have a whole bunch of turtle nests slowing down your process.
Yeah.
Because we can actually do things about that.
Super, thank you.
Great, thank you.
And is there a phone number on that? I was just thinking, as you were saying, let us know. Is there a phone number for the?
No, those are
No.
state.
These are, yeah.
You can put our department number.
Oh no, it does say, it says Eric Rumsey, but
Let's change that one.
well, yeah, but the phone number is there.
Okay.
It's really pretty, most contractors use it as common sense, but you are doing a very good job of keeping the disturbance area where you're building your construction to one corner. When you do open the surface up, to make sure you have a swale wall so that if you do get a rain event, piles don't end up washing out past your construction area.
Correct. So you're looking for like an erosion
Erosion
system.
control
Okay.
just on the construction site. You don't have to get too carried away with being so close, because you are so far away from the brook. Just in the general area, just to make sure you don't
Understood.
wash out.
And we have silk fence too.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a beautiful area. You should have a front row seat of a lot of turtle nesting in the future.
Enjoy it, right?
Yeah,
That's confirmed.
that's wonderful.
We're quite excited actually, so.
Nice, very nice.
So we would, when we are done, we would then do a motion to continue to 5:45 p.m. on 10/24.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor? Okay, so I have the notes down, and we should hear from DEP between now and then.
Hopefully,
Another
you
2
never
weeks.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great news.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and we apologize for the delay.
That's fine.
That was a unique situation that,
Yes, it
But I
was.
hope that was interesting
I'm glad.
for you guys.
I'm
glad
I'm
you're
working on
you.
this project.
Right.
Not him, yeah.
And Bob, I thought of, do you want a social statement? A little,
I
like,
think I had taken
you
one.
could write it.
What do you do?
Katie, you emailed me everything, right?
Yep, I emailed you the
Okay.
certificate.
The certificates
Yep.
and,
Yep.
okay, perfect, thank you.
Thank you, everybody, very much.
Thank you.
Happy to do it. Thanks again, folks.
Thank you.
Nice to see one successful
Nice when things go
project.
smoothly, right, yeah.
Oh, we're saying that now.
That's the
I know.
second
14
one that
years from
came
now, if
through.
this all of a sudden comes back as a
I
can of
know,
worms, who knows?
in like in a month, that's the second one that came like proactively and
Yeah.
not
I
last
think they're
minute.
catching on.
You say that and then.
Yeah.
I can't take any more disasters.
We see these two people come forward. How many people are out there
I
that
know, that
should
are
be
doing
coming
stuff
forward?
that should, yeah, I know. All right, well, these gentlemen have been here a while. Was there anything else that we kind of cut you off? Was there anything else that you guys wanted to talk about?
You are getting BS, when these guys do come back with the
Yeah.
Yes.
plans,
They're
Yeah.
gonna be packing
they
players.
are gonna have BSC looking over.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes,
Are
yeah.
we on track to get BSC as a confirmed peer review?
You heard anything from them as far as
Yeah.
Gulf Street or anything
Yeah.
else?
No.
Okay.
Have they been out to
Do you want
Gulf
me to
Street?
call them
Yes.
this
They
week?
they
Or
were
next
out
week?
to Gulf Street.
Sure.
Is there
Or do you want
report?
to, or do you want to reach out to him?
I can reach out again.
Yeah.
Went to Gulf
Yeah.
Street.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they didn't give their final report.
How long ago? More than
Yeah,
that?
because I have.
Well, there's that one too, right? They lost, I mean, I understand, they lost a guy, right? So, guy is out on sick leaves, medical leave.
But I
so-
have this
but-
April.
But it's
2,
unlike BSC to not get back to us in this amount of time.
Evaluating impacted wetlands in Southbridge. And I know it was a different guy, but isn't this still
When
valid?
was that from?
This is from April 3rd, 2024. it talks about,
Which site is it?
actually, I didn't read through it all, but.
It was in August because they got permission, we actually got Scott Lazo
Yeah.
from in here,
Yeah.
and he gave them permission, so
That's
they
right.
were going the
Well, this was the
following week.
proposal for the evaluation,
Okay.
not the proposal
Okay, so
for the
not
peer
the-
review.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
so
didn't
that's a
read-
different, that's a
okay, I
different
didn't
thing.
read the whole thing, so.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll get it.
Funding for the peer review?
Oh, thanks.
But we're gonna make them pay for it, because we can.
Yeah.
Right.
Technically speaking, we can make.
But they
them
ha,
pay. Otherwise-
and we have to have the money in hand before the peer review is allowed to go forward, so they're gonna hold themselves up if they don't give us the money to get the
That was
peer.
gonna be my question.
Yeah, that should be interesting too, right, from,
Not that he
you know.
pays
I hope he is ready to
Miss-
come. Interesting note, when I went to that most recent enforcement order, did I say this? No, this is the first time since I did that, right? Or did I mention it last time? Anyway, what I mean to say, blah, 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 when I went and mailed those enforcement orders this most recent time, the ones for Trey Atwater and Neverbuilt, which goes to the same address, the postman, the post person who was standing there said, "Oh, I've never seen this message." And the message literally came up, like basically, yeah, there's an address here, but mail might not make it to the person.
Really?
Yeah, there was like a message like that, and I was like,
Wow.
sorry?
Those are the ones that got returned.
Those were the ones that got returned. So Katie was just telling me I have the cards back, but those didn't
He
get.
doesn't answer his phone.
That, and that's Mr. Atwater. That's not Mr. Fernandez. It's,
Yeah.
I'm saying it's Mr. Atwater.
Yeah.
But I was shocked by, you know, he was looking at me, like, he was like, I've been here a while, I've never seen that.
Basically, I won't take you now.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. He was like, all right, I'm gonna take it. I don't know what this means, and I'm like, I can probably tell you what that means.
Easiest,
But
the easiest way to avoid any action at all is never open your mail.
never open your
Right.
mail. Yeah. Must be easy to just go to sleep at night if you don't ever open your
I
mail.
know,
Yeah.
but the rest of us have to follow the rules, so.
I don't know,
Why
right?
do some people get away with not doing it?
All right. So how about those minutes?
Oh, yeah.
I
Way
make
back
a
up
motion
there.
To accept them as presented.
Second?
I'll
Kevin?
second.
All in favor?
I'm presuming this is one of the ones that wasn't there.
You weren't there for that one, so we'll put Natasha abstaining. Okay. Do we have any important mail to look at?
No.
We do have a new case though coming, yes?
Yes. And so,
You sent me.
I don't know that it's new. I was looking at,
Okay, have a good night, gentlemen. Thank you so much for coming.
at the old file of their previous order of conditions, for, so it's BSC with, on the rail trail, and they now have a contractor who, I believe their next step is their stormwater report. So I think that's
Submission from the contractors to be working on the rail trail. I'm gonna ask them about getting on the 1024. Is this just to talk? This isn't a new filing that we need to?
No, so I think on their order of conditions, it requests a stormwater plan. So that's, I don't know if it's the 1024 or next meeting, but that would be, I believe, what they need to bring next to the Concom. If I understood correctly, but.
We did do a site visit of a couple of locations on the rail trail where water.
Yeah, is this about the culvert replacement? I thought that was all in the rear view mirror at this point.
So the SWIP, as far, you know, and again, I'm usually the side person, and we've always had, at least for a long time now. The SWIP just kind of comes in and goes in the file.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you guys can look at it if you want. The SWIP is usually just something that comes in. I don't think they come and present it. If they want to come talk to us, by all means, do not shut them down. Let them come talk to us. But I'm gonna guess, Katie, what they're saying is they're just submitting it for us to put in the file.
Yeah.
I don't think they need to come.
As part of the stormwater plan, 86 Gulf Street actually plays into that because that.
87.
Oh, 87 Gulf Street. because that actually is part of the stormwater system that was there prior to being backfilled, so.
Yeah, except for I'm not sure they're taking charge of the wetlands filling that someone else did from their property.
No, and that's one of the reasons we need BSC Group to say, because BSC Group is not only gonna tell us what happened, what fill is still left there, but a remediation plan to, or request a remediation plan from the violator.
Right. And
Who asked if BSC Group had given any information back. I told them, I says, no, we're expecting it, but,
the other day, Peg said to me that Scott Lazo has been asking, like, what's going on? I keep seeing my address on your agenda. What's going on? He goes, I thought I did everything.
BSC coughs up a report. We don't have much to say.
yeah.
Yeah, well, and
maybe
we,
we have-
you know what, in fairness, we should be communicating with him and letting us know.
Yeah.
Letting
Like
us
I
know.
said,
That's what I
yeah.
said to Katie just today. I was
Yeah.
like, well, let's just let him know. I do agree with keeping it on the agenda. It doesn't
Doesn't hurt anything.
vilify him or
Right.
anything.
And I mean, he asked me if BSC Group had gotten back to conservation yet, and I says,
Oh,
no,
so he's been
it's-
told.
Right.
That we're waiting
but,
for
but
them.
he doesn't go beyond that and try to, get information or anything. All I said was, no, it's not. I says, as soon as it does, I says, I'm sure you'll be informed.
I thought that we had done a site walk. This was several months ago, and we didn't see anything had been removed. So I
think
don't.
that was before his "I'm finished"
Oh.
episode.
I mean,
Okay.
it doesn't matter. And at this stage, until the professionals
Yeah.
put out the
Right.
report, we're not
Yeah.
offering any opinions because we're not
It's
sticking
not
our
our
neck
opinion.
out or giving
Right.
liability or any explanations until the official report weighs in. And I would definitely like to ride BSC on this a little bit because if you spend $5,000 for a report,
Yeah.
regardless of if you had a person buried in an accident, we should get the report at a
Right.
reasonable length of time.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
and, I
and
think
it's
as in courtesy
Yeah.
to the property owner, we can say like what's going on, and which also says like, hey, you know, this is really important.
Similar to Pleasant Hills too. The damage is already is continuing to happen because his excavation of some of the dirt left a wide open bank, and that now has washed
Right.
back down into
Yeah, Bob said the
underneath
wetland is totally filled in.
Yeah, pretty much. And it needs, remediation is only getting longer and longer down the road because all that sediment has to be removed to reconnect it to the canal and allow the system to balance itself back out again. But BSA group, tell them the next meeting, just tell them to come and throw it into the fan and we'll go from there. Because that's
Well, yeah. Well, whenever they do come, we would want Scott here too.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want the
He's-
report.
We need the report
out to
first. We don't
us.
actually want
Right.
them to come yet. We
Yeah.
want the report first,
First,
and then we can invite both of them to
Yeah.
come so that we can.
Exactly.
He said he'd be amenable.
Yeah.
At least that's what he said to Peg, and she conveyed to me.
Yeah, I was there at that time too.
Yeah, yeah. So you can back me up.
That's the thing, once we read the report, we want it to be on camera, on public record, when he's presented on what the experts found damaged
Right.
and what the plan is to fix it.
Right.
We don't want to jump the gun or anything like that early. We don't want him to get wind of what the report says and not show up. He can take the Trey Atwater approach of
Yeah.
not
opening his mail.
So
Well, it's a little harder for
Yeah,
him
when
to hide.
Yeah, it's hard.
you would think.
We know where to find him every Monday at 7 o'clock on
Yeah.
given weeks, so we know where to find
Now I can pretend he's deaf, dumb, and stupid.
All right. So, okay. So we've definitely covered Pleasant Hill tonight.
Yeah.
We know we're waiting on Gulf Street report. Katy Brook is kind of we're keeping it on the radar, but nothing to go on there. Are we attacking any of that bylaw tonight? No.
I've started.
Okay.
Okay, but I want to reiterate that it is important to do it, to talk about it. And I do think it's important that we talk about it in a group.
6 months back, I read through the whole thing and nothing jumped out at me. It's pretty dry stuff.
Oh, well, I think a lot jumped out because there's Farmland Assessment Act of 1964 from New Jersey that's included in it. I don't think that's necessary.
What?
So I think that's why, so you weren't here last time. Terry is taking Gus sent us Sturbridge, which we all agree we do not want to be Sturbridge regulations. They
They get a lot more done than.
They have a lot in there, but
I don't mind.
But it's organized, I like it's
Right.
organized better, and it has some definitions, which I appreciate, and everyone.
Right.
You know, so putting the two together.
so Terry offered to do that. So she's kind of taking what our draft that we had. I'm sure that's going to probably stand out to her when she sees that language that you're mentioning, Maureen. She's going to take Sturbridge, kind of take some of their organization, see if there's anything fantastic that they have that should come over besides definitions, and then we're going to take her new draft and do the normal sort of then we'll take time to read it, and then we'll come and parse out any issues. So we're still
I'm sure there's some agricultural land regulation that a little sooner than 1978.
1964.
1964.
From New Jersey.
From New Jersey.
Is it just that he quoted something from that?
No, it was copy and pasted, and I think it was just, it was just a copy and paste. It was like,
And the regulations,
nobody's gonna read it.
the regulations have changed so much since then.
Okay, let's clarify. The rules and regs are only setting down what our bylaw is enforcing. In other words, we're not looking to rewrite something that's going to change it significantly from what our bylaw
it's just to flesh out the procedure for enforcing bylaw.
That's why I'm
Do we
looking.
really want to have something from 1964 from New Jersey?
I don't know what it's in reference to.
Right. So Terry's gonna sort through that.
Okay.
It's on. What page is it on?
Page
14.
Yeah, but they're on the
14.
page
I thought there was
numbers.
only 12 pages on this sucker.
Well, that's the other problem, there are no pages, numbers on here, so when you're looking at.
Last time I reviewed it was only 12 pages.
I had
My
it on
draft
my
of
computer and it had pages.
I was gonna say my draft of the rules and regs were 12 pages, so I don't know. You're working off an older version that
No,
has other
this is the
things
one,
on it.
that, Gus sent me.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm wondering if that's an older version. One I have
could be.
is shorter.
I will send you the last one that I have
Okay.
from Eric, and you can see if that's the one you're
I
working
think
with.
that's the one from Eric. That's why I think it was just copy and pasted for that one section.
Last rules and regs that I was sent by somebody else. Rules and regs. Okay.
Thank you, Karen.
Good.
Okay, if we're going through a review and you're consolidating, including definitions and making it clear, then it doesn't make sense for us to all to jump in on a half draft halfway through.
Right. I think we should wait for Terry's.
Yeah.
I think we should all read it though.
Oh,
I think it's
absolutely.
very important.
I'm gonna read what Terry produces, so it can be up on the latest.
Yep. Perfect. All right. Commissioners' announcements.
I think this would have been a great time to have our nameplates. Cardboard as they are, because we had somebody on the screen, the person on the phone wouldn't have cared, but it would have been helpful, I think, just to know who it was. I mean, I think it was great.
Yeah, I have to do
How
new
you
ones
said,
because
Commissioner Nowick.
I don't think I have a Katie yet. I don't think I have a Terry yet. I don't think I even have a Kevin.
Ours would be like,
Yeah.
I like to stay anonymous.
You like stay anonymous. I will make
just
new
think
ones.
It would be good.
Sure.
And I was noticing the catch basins around town, which are beautifully done. Nice silt sacks in them. So I was thinking of somehow thanking them for doing it. I know that Trailside Road up on Lebanon Hill also has a nice silt sack that it's, it's nice. I think the carrot works better than the stick. So saying, hey, you guys did a great job, and it was the DPW, so that would carry on to other things. They would be like, oh, well, I guess we should do that. Instead of writing, Ken used to always say a Christmas card of how they have to do it. How about, like I said, the carrot is better than the stick. Saying, hey, you guys did a great job on East Main Street and on Trailside. Let's keep those silt sacks, protecting our catch basins, something like that.
Are they removed at this point because they're done construction?
I didn't think they were done on East Main
No,
Street.
East
Well,
Main
I'm
Street.
not. I'm just talking about Trailside.
Oh, Trailside, I think they
Tipton
are
Rock
done.
and Surrey Lane, which were all
Yeah,
done.
I think Trailside is done. I'm not so sure exactly, but
So before
the
we
silt
start-
sack is still
I was
there.
gonna say before we start giving out carrots.
Yeah.
Let's make sure
Thank
to
you for
complete the
doing
job.
it. Make sure you take them out when you're done, kind of thing.
Katie, maybe an email over to, who was that? Who is it now?
Would it be
Yeah,
Benoit?
I mean,
Is it
is
Ted
the one in
Benoit?
charge
Or-
of
Voice over.
that project, or would it have been like operations? Or?
I don't know. He's the director of the DPW, so
Sure.
I would imagine he would disperse it
You can,
to whomever was
just say
appropriate.
the Conservation Commission appreciates the efforts
work.
made to keep the silt out of our drainage system.
Yeah. Just remember, when your projects are done, remove them. But it's nice to see them.
Of course,
Great.
as a-
Anything
How about
else?
just ask him ? Sorry.
As a bicycle rider, I'd like to be informed of them sooner than later. They catch me every now and then. I find one catching me out of surprise because I'm usually riding the gutter.
Oh,
So
that's
if
right.
I come along,
is it a problem?
no,
Okay.
it's no problem than beer bottles, plastic bottles, nips,
Okay.
Someone's discarded mattress hanging onto the road.
right. Picker bushes sometimes sticking out into that's more worse problem. But no, it's they serve an important part.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I don't think it's a Concom issue, but it would be nice. Maybe I'm not sure if it's human health or whatever, or one of the departments to maybe put out a letter reminding property owners that if they have sidewalk on their street, that it is their duty to trim the bushes and make it passable, not parking their trash pickup on the sidewalks. There's a lot of obstructed sidewalks in
there are.
Southbridge.
And it is a situation. I mean, back in the day, people always complained about having to shovel their sidewalks.
Right.
Well, maybe it's time to make people realize that not only do you have to shovel your sidewalks, but if you have weeds 4 feet tall growing on, you're probably not going to have DPW workers come by. Take your own initiative to keep your sidewalk not only shoveled, but if you can do any general maintenance of weeding or cleanup, it.
I mean, most towns, especially as you get towards eastern Mass and towards Boston, they fine when you have obstructions of the sidewalk. I think maybe, if you want to improve the Southbridge community, we may have to make it more accessible.
I think that's a Board of Health thing too.
I mean, whoever.
I think so. I'm not saying we can't do it,
No,
but
I'm not saying
but
it should be a Concom thing. I just think
I
the
do think
towns
they
should
issue
do it.
fines, hefty fines, for things.
It's kind of one of the ironies when you talk to somebody about town. Of course, they always say, "Well, I pay way too much in taxes," and then you talk to them about, "Geez, the weeds out in your sidewalk." Well, that's the town's job. they should come by. Well, if you expect the town to come by and trim the weeds on your sidewalk, expect your taxes to go up more, even more. So these little things that we can do to keep our own properties looking appropriate. I appreciate Beautify Southbridge one day a year, but I walk around picking up litter usually 2 or 3 days out of the month.
Remember when Clements and Manna were on the council, and they did clean up once a month, I think it was.
It certainly doesn't hurt, especially in certain.
I think it would be great to start it again.
We have certain areas in town where we say, oh, that's a slummy area. There's more trash left laying around in the streets in those areas than there are in maybe Main Street or something like that. But the only way you're going to get those areas to improve is to make the effort to clean it up in the first place.
Right.
And hopefully it doesn't come back as bad, and maybe the neighborhood itself starts to take a little more pride in it.
It's the old broken window theory.
Speaking of which, I just mentioned the Peg. There's one on Hamilton Street, the old dry cleaners. The plate glass got broken, and as far as I know, the property owner lives right next door. He hasn't even done anything to cover the hole yet, so if he doesn't do something, sooner or later somebody's going to find their way in there and cause more. But
Isn't that where Barber Shop just went in? On Hamilton Street?
the barber shop is down on the corner. This is right by the...
Like across the floods?
No, right across from Starlight, where the restaurant, the old Frenchie's restaurant, Raging Bull Bar, and then you have a beautiful little Victorian house that sits there that doesn't look like it belongs, and then there's a dry cleaning commercial property sitting right next door. I don't know how the glass got broken, but it was just a little piece of...
I don't think they're open anymore.
No, it's... but I will say for that section of Hamilton Street, there have been a couple other stores that have opened up, the hair extensions. So it is looking better than empty storefronts.
And some of the bigger homes.
And we're expanding into planning and development.
I was wondering if we would talk about November's meetings. I know I can't make the first week in November, so I'll just give a heads up on that.
Yeah, that's a good idea to bring it up now.
So not the 7th?
No, I'm babysitting the grandkids.
Nice.
Yeah,
So
the
that
parents
month-
are going on a cruise, and I would get them.
That's even better.
I don't know.
I would. Well,
we're still
it's a
looking for
toss-up.
more members. I don't know what the age requirement is, but we're still looking for new members.
4 and 2, so.
We could use 4 and 2.
They do breathe and
Hey,
have
I
both.
pitched it,
Yeah.
I pitched it to the homeowner tonight, because he
Yeah, Bob has been very...
he was very, no, not
Oh,
Bob,
the-
Patrick.
Oh, we should
Oh,
go
yeah.
He
Bob,
was
though.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bob would be great.
He seemed very amenable to
Yeah.
things, and he
They're
was
like, oh, when you move to town, maybe this is something you'd be interested
Yeah,
in.
Yeah.
please.
Yeah.
That would be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he said he was excited to come to the meeting tonight
Yeah,
and hear
so I'm
about
like,
it, and
hopefully-
And I think if more people understood that we could still do it remotely like we did today.
Exactly.
So if it is a situation where, oh geez, it's a Thursday night and I can't make it to the town hall, as long as you can, go on your phone or your computer and
Well, here's a
participate.
question. What is the logistics if I couldn't have made it down today? Can we, at a moment's notice, fire up our remote in?
I believe.
Yeah.
I just need a
I
Zoom
think
invite
through the
or Teams
Mullins rule,
invite.
we can.
Yeah, so like, if it's just that we're doing, like, in this case, like, we're inviting in a special guest or a Concom member, we could do it. If we want to do it that it's like we're posting the meeting, like that it's
For remote.
yeah, then we would have to do that by the time the agenda's posted. But yeah, we could totally, if there's something that comes up. Yeah.
I just know I missed an awful lot of meetings in this last month because of
And we understand.
Yeah.
No worries.
unexpected
Yep.
emergencies.
No
but
worries
I
at
always
all.
hate it when I can't make it down.
We understand, and that's
I'll be gone
yeah.
from January through March. We're going to visit my daughter in Alabama, and then we're gonna go to Florida for a couple months. For the first time ever.
Goodness.
Just to see
Really?
how, yeah. Hey, we're retired. Try to
Right.
do one of those things.
Good thing the
I
hurricane
said,
already hit it.
I think we're gonna have to go volunteer when we're down
I know,
there.
yeah.
Right.
If you
help
if
clean
you
up.
if you're thinking about visiting Florida between January and March, before you buy
I'm not
a place down there, visit it in August.
No, my brother
My-
lives there, so we go visit
Visit
him.
him.
But it's,
Nice place to visit, but tough place to live.
yeah, no. No.
I would suggest with November and December, because we have the holidays, you know, I don't know if first and third would work anyway, and you're not gonna be here on the 7th, so,
Is Thanksgiving the 28th?
Yes.
Okay.
oh, is it,
All
okay.
right, so,
If you do two, you need to do the 7th.
just
and the
because we have
21st.
movement on Pleasant Hills, I feel like, I was gonna say, let's just go for the 14th and have one.
Yeah.
But then on the other hand, where we have movement, maybe we should, if we do have 3 that think we can
Yeah,
be there on
so
November
far.
7th, maybe we should schedule, at least for now, pencil in the 7th and the 21st.
I might be able to attend, no, I won't, I'll be
If
bathing and feeding.
if BSC group is going to do a presentation or just get us their final report, that would also give us the ability to get them in here and
Right.
receive that final
And then if we look at December, the 5th, it would be the 5th and the 19th.
Seems reasonable.
So on
And then-
November, we're still doing the
7 and
7th
21.
and 21,
Yeah.
okay,
And
That
then
makes
5
sense.
and 19.
okay.
And then, so that's 4. Honestly,
Okay.
I feel like probably one of them will get, you know, there'll be nothing to,
we still have, we have another one in October?
no, we're done.
We're done? Okay.
No, oh, I'm sorry, no, yes.
October
the
20
24th, yes.
Yeah.
So the next one is October 24th, and then looking ahead, tentatively, we're planning November 7th, November 21st, December 5th, December 19th.
Sounds good.
All right?
And, could Terry just, attend virtually, if she wanted to?
Well, except that that's supper time and back.
No, I know, but you could have it on in the background if you just wanted to.
But
It doesn't mean that you have to be.
Yeah, I might,
It just means
if-
so that you could
if we have a
hear what's going on.
continuation of, the Pleasant Hills, yeah, I might want to do that.
Yeah, just so you can hear, not so that you
I'll mute myself.
officially.
And give you the link to include in the agenda.
Yeah, I could.
if we continue it for every meeting, even if we don't have to use it, maybe it's a good idea so that when it gets posted, if you know,
Yeah.
you can attend or this.
Well, then she's got to make sure that opens up and sees if there's somebody here, you know.
Yeah, well, so, and we do have that, like, we have a standing meeting for planning board that we could just do it the same way.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes you use it. A lot of times the last
Yeah.
couple of meetings it's been used, but
Yeah, we usually know someone's coming there, so it,
Yeah, it's helpful if you know somebody's coming. I don't think, you know, for the amount of people we get, I hate to have, you know, more steps and then I have to
Yeah.
wait for you to get me a link before I can post
Post it,
you know what I mean? Like, I think when we know we need it, great.
I can get
Yeah.
you a link though it'll be the same link every.
Oh, that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
If you can get me that as soon as possible, if you
Yeah.
want it up for this next one.
Yeah.
Because like usually I go home tonight and I get it all done.
Sure, I can do that tonight.
Okay, awesome, thank you. Motion to adjourn,
motion to adjourn.
second?
Sure.
All in favor?
Aye.
Alrighty. Well, that was exciting.